There's a famous story about a gentleman from Eretz Yisrael who had some medical issues, had to go collect tzedakah to pay his bills. So he went to do what they call in Ivrit, Higia LaAmerika Lasot Shnor. He went to America, scraped together the money for a ticket to go collecting in America. Somebody hooked him up with one of the people who has these like lists of who the good donors are. Now, good donors are not necessarily wealthy people. Wealthy people sometimes are amazing donors, sometimes don't give. Some wealthy people, unfortunately, don't give their fair share. They should be giving based on the bracha Hashem gave them to tzedakah. But there's many people who don't have the kind of money that some very rich people have, but which do give tremendous amounts of tzedakah. And the point of this list is essentially to help a person who's collecting tzedakah to optimize his time in America, to be able to go to addresses of people that will give him money, enough money to make it worth his while. And the person who gives the list either does it as a chesed or gets a percentage of the money collected or charges a flat fee. That's a speech in and of itself. But in any case, this gentleman gets the list. He looks at the first page of the list, Manhattan. Off to Manhattan he goes. So he gets to his first address, he knocks on the door, and the owner of the house opens the door and sees a very non-local looking person who doesn't speak a very good English at the door. And as soon as he opens the door, the man says in his broken English, "I'm collecting tzedakah," and he shows him a laminated letter from some organization or some Rav saying that this person is in fact someone who needs tzedakah to pay his medical bills. And the man gets red in the face and he starts yelling, "Oh, chutzpah you have! Go get yourself a job. You come here collecting tzedakah. You think people just have money, rolling out of, you think the streets are paved with gold? You're here in New York. You see the streets are not paved with gold." The house looked like a house of a wealthy gentleman, so it seemed he had some money, but he was not in the mood of giving any money to this person. And he's yelling, and he's screaming, and he's cursing the guy. And the man is just standing there listening to the entire, being bavashn, he's listening to himself being washed down, being given all kind of lovely compliments, or not such compliments. He's just standing there. And after like 5 or 7 minutes of this diatribe, this like long Megillah of venting, and the guy's red and purple and blue in the face, the guy feels a little bad for the Meshulach who's standing here for the last 7 minutes getting his neshama handed to him, not on a silver platter, pulls out his wallet, takes out 2 Benjamin Franklins, says, "Here's $200 for tzedakah, have a good day." The man takes the money, thanks him, and starts leaving. And as he's leaving, the gentleman who had just given $200 to tzedakah says, "One second, come back a second, I want to ask you a question. What's pshat? I yelled at you, I screamed at you, and you didn't move. You just stood there. I mean, why didn't you get scared of me? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you run away? Why did you just stand there?" I mean, the man pulled out of his pocket his list of addresses to go to, and on this name it said the name, the address, and under it said comments. When you knock on a man's door, he will answer, he will yell at you, he will scream, he will curse. It's all written in Ivrit. And then at the end, hu yiten lecha $200. At the end, he's going to give you $200 for tzedakah. So he said, "Look, I knew that that's part of the spiel. I knew that's part of the way it works. I have to stand there and listen to your verbal abuse. But at the end, it's worth my while, because for 7 minutes of abuse, ultimately, I get a decent donation for my medical bills to pay my bills that I need to pay."